Well, hi everybody, and welcome into Clemson National Signing Day here at the Reeves Football Operations Complex in Clemson, South Carolina. I am Don Munson. For a lot of us, this is like a holiday, and I think for a lot of you that follow football recruiting in particular, it is a holiday from that standpoint. So we welcome you in to the Reeves Football Operations Center, and for the next couple of hours, we're going to be talking about this signing class here for 2019 for Clemson football, and we're going to have various guests that will be with us throughout the afternoon, and as well as hearing from Coach Dabo Sweeney coming up, and we'll have all of that here for you. So lineup is kind of like this. We're going to start out with Brandon Streeter, who is actually right now off to my left-hand side, and we'll bring him up on camera. And there he is, the smiling face of the man that is kind of the recruiting coordinator as well as the quarterback coach here at Clemson. So big day. This is a lot of work for you and the staff to get to this point where we are today. We've already had a lot of names that have come in. We'll get to all that here in just a little bit. But Street, this is the culmination of a lot of work.
It really is. Just loving the early signing period and loving the way that our staff works at this, and we truly do this thing together. And there's so many people involved in signing a prospect, and all of our staff are just incredible in their work ethic and how they bring in guys to get to our campus. And once we get them on campus, it's usually a good thing.
All right, so is this year 3 for you as the recruiting coordinator, or 2?
I just finished 4.
4, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So what have you learned as you've gone through this process? Because I know how you all work. It is a learning process from year to year.
Oh, it truly is. I came from FCS program,
right.
And so just that transition of the recruiting process, obviously the high-profile guys that you get here at a Division I school, and especially at Clemson, it's definitely different. And I think that, like I said earlier, the way that we do it here as far as piggybacking off of each other and really going all in on these guys and just the different ways that we go all in and try to get them to get to campus and then get them to sign like on days like today is pretty impressive. And so I've learned a ton. I've learned a lot from a lot of people. I learned from everybody on our staff that have been in the Division I ranks, and especially from Coach Sweeney. He has a great background of recruiting, and when we get our kids on this campus and they see our culture, that's the selling point for us.
Well, and that is one of the key ingredients that Coach Sweeney always stresses about recruiting is get them here to campus, because you get them here to campus and the place almost sells itself, and then you also can quickly tell, right, who is a Clemson fit and who is not a Clemson fit. That's important.
Absolutely. And we're fortunate now that we've been so successful on and off the field that we just don't just go chase guys that are the best players out there in the country, but they got to be guys that fit our culture. And we've done a great job of that, and we will continue to do a great job of that. And I think the key there is just having our priorities in order, and that's what we have here at Clemson.
The other thing for this year, this is a big class. This is a really big class that you all are bringing in. And you still, though, have to come up with the right ingredients as you work the formula. Right? How many tight ends are you going to try to sign? How many DBs are you going to sign? Defensive linemen. There is a formula that is to all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, this is the biggest class, since I've been here by far. And we have to do a great job of managing it. And Coach Sweeney does an awesome job of just giving us our parameters and giving us as much ahead of time as possible on how many guys we need to sign at each position. And so that when we go out there in the spring and in the winter, that we know exactly what we're looking for and how many we're looking for. And that changes sometimes, so that document changes, but the communication is critical, and it obviously starts with Coach Sweeney, and he kind of gives us the orders, and then we go out and get it done.
You mentioned, obviously, Coach Sweeney. I've seen him in work here in this building, but I can only imagine what he is like when you take him on the road, when you actually take him into a recruit's house and he sits down and he starts talking with that recruit and the folks that are around him that are around that recruit as they try to make a decision. I would expect a few better in the nation than William Christopher Sweeney.
Absolutely. What you see is what you get. He's so genuine. That's probably the biggest word that I get feedback from the families, is just a genuine person that fun to be around, energetic, and just very, very honest and upfront about this process and transparent on how we do it. And I think that's a big part of our success as well is these kids know before they even commit the exact expectations of our program and what they're going to do here if they decide to come here. And by laying out those expectations, there's no surprises. And the parents and the families really, really appreciate that, of being transparent and telling them exactly what it's going to be like to play for him or for Coach Sweeney and for our staff. And so, but yeah, when you get in front of a family, you know, he's at his best. It's amazing what he does and brightens up the room, and everybody can feel it in the room.
The brand, though, has grown exponentially since you were here at Clemson as a player. It really is. It's coast to coast. It's north to south right now. You can go and sell Clemson just about anywhere in this country.
Absolutely. Even in the last 4 years, our brand has grown, you know, just through the success that we've had on the field and then off the field, you know, as well. And now, you know, we got guys coming from all over the country coming here first, and we don't even have to go out there to find them a lot of times, you know, especially the further ones that are out there. And so that makes it special. You know, something special is going on when your brand is that strong that every time you walk into a high school, you get the utmost respect, and you know, you get everybody smiling at you and just excited about the Paul being in their school.
All right, can we talk? We do have your position that is already in and signed, and that is Ison Puma. Tell me a little bit about the young man from Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Well, what a neat kid. It's been a pleasure to recruit he and his family, and you know, kind of like I said earlier, once I got to know him, I really took my time before we offer kids. I mean, that's just how we do it here. And, you know, after I was around him a couple times, I knew he was the right fit. And that was a big part of the deal, because I'm so proud of my room right now, the quarterbacks that I have and the character that they portray and that they have. And it's so I just want to make sure that, you know, in this class, this is the right kid, the right fit. And there is no doubt this is a high character kid. Obviously, we first found out about him because of his talent. This kid is so athletic, can make all the throws. I've seen him play live and throw live, and just it's just been a really, really neat experience getting to know him and his family, and just a perfect fit.
You know, when you're recruiting it, the high school coach is so important. And I know that Coach Brennan was his high school coach there, and those relationships that you establish with those high school coaches, even in short order when you're recruiting a young man like this, are big for you.
Absolutely. You know, Coach Brennan has done a great job in how he runs his program, and just, you know, he's got a lot of respect by people up in the Connecticut area. And it's obvious to me when we go into a school, you can see that right away. And he has been so good with the communication, so good on protecting Tyson after he committed. Just done a great job with him and helping him progress as a player, and then also through this recruiting process.
When you were recruiting Tyson, you think about, okay, the talent that was already here on campus. Does that make it easier to go out and recruit a quarterback, or does it make it a little bit more difficult because the young man now knows he's coming in and he's got a battle?
Yeah, I think I think it depends on the kid. You know, I think what I sell here is very simple. Is I say, look, when you get here, you're going to have the opportunity to compete right away. I mean, we always give that option or that opportunity for each of our players. You have to earn the right to play, and everybody's going to have an opportunity. Just because a kid is a starter one year doesn't mean he's definitely guaranteed the starting job the next year. They have to earn that right every single year. And so that's number one, just being upfront about that. And then obviously, you know, the things that come along with playing football at Clemson, not just being a quarterback and just looking at the depth chart and all that. There's so many other things, really more important things, like our culture, like the Paul journey, for example. I mean, things like that you can sell. And then when he gets here, he can feel that and sense that with all the people that are here and the support staff, and just how genuine everybody is. And so, you know, when you ask most of the people that I recruit, a lot of times it comes back to, well, this is the culture that I need to be in. I know God has a plan for me, and that it's going to turn out how it's supposed to be, and just kind of put your blinders on and go to work every day. And, every kid has to come into a situation, no matter what position you play, and has to earn it or knows that there's competition. That's the biggest thing that I had to learn whenever I went from high school to college is, hey, you step on campus, there's a couple kids at least that are just as good as you or better. So, don't worry about the other person. Just worry about yourself and be the best version of who you are, and then just take one day at a time.
All right, got a couple more minutes with you, so I got to talk a little bit about the playoffs that are coming up and the showdown with Notre Dame. First and foremost, you get a couple of weeks off after the ACC championship game, and you get things going back again. And it looks like everybody is ultra fresh. Under the practices that I've been at, everybody's got a great step to them. Everybody looks solid. And I think a lot of that is just because the numbers of guys that you all played throughout the year.
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. We're so fortunate to have a lot of depth, and we've been able to roll guys in and trust in those guys. And I think that has created a very positive culture on the field for us. And like you said, after the players had about a week and a half off from being on the field practicing, they kind of got refreshed and came back with a lot of energy. And, this team has been very focused this whole year. So there's no question that we are very, very focused right now. And I really think that Coach Sweeney has done an awesome job of, setting up our practices and when we're getting our breaks and things like that. And these kids appreciate that and understand that. And so the focus level is incredible. And, we just got to continue to maintain that and take a little break here in a couple of days and come back refreshed again and then travel to Dallas. And, our guys are ready for this challenge.
One last question for you. I know there's a huge amount of respect in this building for Notre Dame, and as you've been sitting there looking at their defense, you don't get to the Final Four now and be battling for a national championship if you're not good on both sides of the football.
Absolutely. Notre Dame has done an awesome job on both sides of the football, and very, very good group on defense. There's really no weak link. They are all good football players. And they don't make mistakes. They're a defense that knows exactly what they're doing, puts people in the right position to make the plays, and then they go execute. And that's why they've been so successful, is because there are very, very few mistakes, very few, if any, bust coverages and guys in just wrong spots. And so that's what makes them good. They're a very good team. It'll be a really big challenge for us.
All right, there you go. Some thoughts from Brandon Street. Street, always good to see you here. Congratulations on the job that you all have done here today. This is another big day for Clemson football.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Don. Thank you.
Right. Brandon Streeter joining us here. We're going to let him change out the headset, and then we're going to bring in Jeff Scott to the program. Now, if you're watching this, you already kind of know this. We're on Facebook, and you can, here's what's going on. So you can follow us at clemsontigers.com/We2Deep19, WETOODEEP 19. All right, that's how you can follow us online through all of the social media channels, as well as the social media team obviously is here and doing what they do as the best in the country at getting out all the information on the signees for us as well. So co-offensive coordinator and wide receiver coach Jeff Scott now steps into talk with us a little bit. When so long ago that you were doing what Brandon Streeter was doing, my friend.
Yes, that's right. It definitely, signing day is always a special time, and it's been a lot of fun now to be around here for almost 10 years of signing day with Coach Sweeney. So it's always one of my favorite days of the year.
This is a day which basically comes down, as you like to say, it's about relationships. I mean, and few are better at establishing relationships than you. It seems like when you set your eyes on somebody and get their hooks into them, usually you're going to bring them in. But talk about that aspect of recruiting and going about and establishing the relationship that this staff does with programs around the country.
Well, I think number one, it's identifying the right type of young man. Clemson is a special place, and we've got a great culture here that Coach Sweeney's done a great job of developing. And so I think for us as coaches, really as we go through the process, watching the video, that's only one piece of the puzzle for us. But really once we get a chance to meet these young men and their families, and we kind of are able to identify which ones we feel like would be a great fit Clemson, then it really is all about that relationship. And, that's something that we take a lot of pride is in our relationships with our players once they get here to Clemson. And, developing that relationship early in the process with these recruits is critical. Most of these guys are coming from a high school program where they have close relationships with their high school coaches, and they're looking for that same type of relationship when they go off to school. And, that's probably one of my favorite parts of recruiting is each year it's different young man, different family, and being able to kind of go into their home and let them experience Clemson for the first time. That really never gets old.
How big is it, though, that, as we like to call it, wide receiver U, the guys that have moved on from this program and have now gone to the National Football League are doing what they are doing? Because it seems like every Sunday, and now they're playing on Saturdays as well, we're at this point, it seems like every week there's a different Clemson guy that is doing something special.
Yeah, there's no doubt that helps. And, I try to keep up with those guys, and DeAndre Hopkins, and obviously Sammy Watkins, Mike Williams. We've got about 10 guys now in the NFL. Adam Humphries is having a great year, and Jerron Brown as well. And they keep up with us. And I'll get texts. I got a really nice text from Sammy Watkins after our ACC championship game, and he said he watched every play, and he was just so proud to be, a Clemson Tiger and to watch that. And I said, well, you and those other wideouts had a big part of that. A lot of these receivers that are here now, one of the reasons they're here is because of what you guys did before them. So I think our guys take a lot of pride in that. And the guys that we have in our room, they know that, there's a high standard to playing wide receiver at Clemson. And that's not something that they take lightly. And they want to continue to build really on that legacy that a lot of these guys that come before them have done. But it's a lot of fun to be able to watch those guys on Sunday have success as some of the best wide receivers in the country.
Well, you're going to, I think, looking at 3 guys that you're wanting to bring in at wide receiver here to this class. Tell me a little bit about the guys that you already have signed to the dotted line here this morning.
Yeah, well, Frank Ladson is a young man from South Dade High School down there in Miami. His head coach, Nathaniel Hudson, does a great job. And Frank's a guy that we found out about early. And really, he's one of these guys that's a special talent. He runs extremely well, very explosive. And the video kind of speaks for itself. But where I was most impressed with Frank is when he and his family, his mom Natasha and his dad Frank Sr. and brother Vari and sister KK, they all came up with him in January for a junior day. And, I knew within the first 5 minutes, hey, this is a Clemson family. This is a Clemson type of young man. And he's not just going to like it here. He's going to love it here. But very, very explosive. I think he, is similar to some of the guys that we have right now. They can really kind of take the top off and run by guys. And he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And then Brandon Spector, obviously he's going to be the third in his family to play football at Clemson with his father, Robby, played wide receiver here at Clemson, and his older brother, Balin, plays outside linebacker for us now. And Brandon was a guy that I had in camp, and just very smooth athlete, runs extremely well, actually plays safety and wide receiver for his team there at Calhoun. His head coach, Hal Lamb, just does an awesome job coming from a winning program. But he's a guy that I was able to identify very early and know that he really could play multiple positions. And I think the biggest compliment that we could give him is he's going to be wearing 13 next year. So I think that tells you all you need to know about kind of where he stacks up in our mind. And then the last young man we can't talk about yet is out on the West Coast, and he has to wait until 7 a.m.
West Coast
time. So hopefully we'll get some paperwork from him here in a little bit, and we can talk about him later.
Paperwork. Kind of explain this to me. It used to be you're sitting there waiting on the fax to come. Do we still wait on faxes, or is it now that we have other electronic means we can do it that way?
We finally have moved past the fax machine, and now the guys just really take a picture on their cell phone and text that to us. And as soon as we get that, we give it to our compliance department. They look over everything, and then they're good to go.
The other thing that I heard you mention is, how early are you looking to get on guys? I mean, I've heard from time to time that you all will go after a freshman in high school just to start establishing that relationship. But when does it really get kind of down to the nitty-gritty for recruiting a young man?
Yeah, I mean, I think we always want to be aware of the top guys, really kind of after they finish their 9th grade year. But, something that Coach Sweeney is really on our staff about is making sure these guys mature and make sure that we don't make mistakes early. I think sometimes you can get excited about a guy as a freshman or as a sophomore and want to go out and throw that offer, and then maybe they don't quite develop as much as you think that they would. And then maybe there's other guys that come out their junior year that end up being better players. And so I think for us, we want to identify them as early as we can. We want to get them on campus, which is huge. When we can get these guys here at Clemson, it gives us a big head start. And then we want to learn more about them, their family, see if they're the right fit. We want to be able to see their academics, their transcript. And then really, kind of the summer going into their junior year is really kind of that point where we start giving out some offers to our top group. Clemson has kind of become an elite offer, and we don't want to just throw out a bunch of offers. We want to make sure that our offer means something. And I've definitely seen that. There's a lot of guys that reach out to us that, they're wanting that Clemson offer. And I think that speaks a lot to the culture that Coach Sweeney's built, where we can sit back and be very selective and pick the right type of young men. Not only they're going to be great players and help us win championships, but they're going to represent, our program and our university the right way off the field as well.
You go back and you think, midway through 2008, Coach Sweeney takes this over, and you all of a sudden are elevated up to a full-time staff position. Do you marvel at the way that the brand of Clemson has grown since that time to what it is today? Because you can go anywhere and sell Clemson.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I could be down in Florida and I'd have to explain to a young man exactly where Clemson was located. They thought we were up in Tennessee somewhere. And now, just a couple weeks ago, we're out there in California. And, I mean, people are coming up everywhere. They know exactly where Clemson is, and they've seen us on TV. And, it's been awesome to be a part of that journey and to be able to watch the way that, we've progressed. And the other thing I think that's special, especially myself going to Clemson, not just our football program really taking those steps, but the entire university.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it really just the leadership, President Clements and Dan Radakovich with our athletic department. It has been, we've kind of been working together all the way up. And I love where we are now. And, Coach Sweeney says it all the time, and I firmly believe it, that the best is yet to come. So we're going to continue to strive, continue to work to get better. But these are definitely special times here at Clemson.
Yeah, I don't think we can undersell what Dan Radakovich, as athletic director, has done for not just for football, for the entire athletic department. And then also Jim Clements, as president of this university. There are few that are like that man, especially when it comes to recruiting.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, when President Clements got here, his very first day, he came over, and I think at the time I might have been recruiting coordinator. And after he introduced himself, he said, "Let me know how I can help you. I'm here to help." And I tell people all the time, it's maybe a little bit unfair. We feel like we may have two head coaches in recruiting because, President Clements, I mean, he keeps up with it. And the same way he recruits our football players, he's recruiting students for the engineering department, for the business department. He's raising money. That's just who he is and his personality. And then I think, Dan Radakovich has done an awesome job. His entire staff, Graham Neff, I mean, just putting the resources in place, to really elevate our athletic program to where it is now has been awesome, not just as a coach, but also as a proud alum to see the progress that we're making, and we definitely got a great team.
We're going to be bringing Tony Elliott up here in just a sec, Jeff. So give me a little breakdown as what you all have been discussing as you start to game plan here for Notre Dame as you take a look. I talked with Streeter a little bit about this. Now, defensively now, this group is really, really solid.
Yeah, I think this will be the best defense that we've played all year, which is what you would expect when you're getting ready to play in the playoff. Very sound defensively. I like their personnel, talented group. I think the thing that sticks out the most is they're never out of position. I mean, I just keep making that point to my wide receivers as I'm in the meeting. Every single throw and catch is contested. There's a guy right there trying to knock it down, and, it's going to come down to technique and the fundamentals of the position, and that's really what championship football is all about. When you get to this level, you're going to have to earn it every single play, and So, really impressed with what I see on video with Notre Dame. And then, for us, we got to just continue to work to get better. And Coach Sweeney's challenging, our players to play our best 4 quarters of the year, challenging our staff to coach the best 4 quarters that we've coached all year. I really like the focus of where we are at this point. We'll finish up with one more good practice this afternoon and take a little break, and then get back over here Sunday and get ready to head to Dallas.
Looking forward to being there with you in Dallas for the semifinal game against the Fighting Irish. Congratulations on a job well done.
Great. Thank you.
All right, there you go. Jeff Scott has joined us. We're going to get Tony Elliott up here and bring him up to the table. So just kind of give you a rundown. We're going to talk with Coach Elliott here. We'll do that for you for about the next 10 minutes or so. Brent Venables will then come and join me here on set at 9:50. We've got a presentation by IPTE that will show you that will be right behind me on the stage, and then Coach Sweeney will kind of take over from there, run through the entire signing class as they put them up on the board. So that's what will be coming up between now and about 11 o'clock this morning. As Tony Elliott, the co-offensive coordinator and running backs coach, now joins us here at the desk. This is a big day. This is a day that you all look forward to, not only because you're excited about the guys that are signing, but a little bit of a deep breath now once you get to this early signing period day for you all.
No question, because you know who you got, and really you're excited for the families and the young men that have committed a long time ago to be a part of the program. They've worked their whole lives for this day, and you're just blessed to be a part of that process with them. So you're really excited for them to be able to have their moment, and then also too you know which guys that are committed to you, and you can now focus on the bowl game.
This is the second year of this early signing period here in December. As a staff, what did you all learn from year one here coming to year two?
The biggest thing is which guys are committed to you when they sign, and so then now you know exactly where you're headed in January. That's the biggest thing, and it also taught us not to panic. Obviously, we have a lot of targets, and you want to get them all signed, but these young men have options, and they're going to make decisions that they feel are right for them and their family at that current time. And you'd love to get all of them, but that's not possible. So now you have some clarity going into January, and if there's any needs that you weren't able to fill in the first early signing period, now you can hone in on those specifically, and then also gives you an opportunity to get a jump on some of the young guys as you go out in January, because you already have most of your class solidified.
You feel, I kind of feel like for those kids who absolutely know where they want to go, that the early signing day is a blessing to them, because it takes a lot of pressure off the young man.
No question, and I'm sure there's probably some that will like a little bit earlier because they make decisions earlier, but definitely they're able to get that off their plate, and they can go back to just being a regular high school student. And that's one of the things in recruiting. It starts so early with these young men nowadays, especially these high-profile young athletes, that now they get an opportunity just to get it off their chest. The weight of the world is off their shoulders. They can go back to being a son, a brother, a cousin. They can go back to just being a normal high school student.
And as we're seeing, obviously the majority of the class does come in here in December, but there's still that February signing period that is there, and that is as of vital importance to you all, because there may be, like you said, there's going to be that 1, 2, 3 young man that is out there that you still want to add to this program, and you got to figure out who those pieces of the puzzle are.
No question. In particular, at the running back position, we're going to sign one. We just signed one here, and we're going to probably sign another one. We got to fill a need, and obviously the pool was different this year. Things shook out a little bit different, and you look at Travis's situation. Travis was a guy that we got on in January, added him in the February signing period, and he's turned out to be a pretty good player for us here in Tigertown. So really, yes, for each of us, we're able to kind of lock in on the guys. You battle. If you get them, you get them, and if not, you don't panic, because there's going to be a couple guys that are going to wait it out. And the beautiful thing, and Coach Sweeney challenges us all the time to make sure that we're not forgetting about the guys that may develop late. There's a lot of guys that are going to develop up late, going to have great senior seasons, so there's still going to be good players that are going to be available for the February signing.
And while you all have your specific zones and areas, inside the state and outside the state, it really is a team concept. That I think is maybe a little bit different here at Clemson than it is at other places.
No question. It starts with you go out in the spring and you go out in January and identify the young talent, and then once you identify the guys that fit from a character and an academic standpoint and an athletic standpoint, then you're going to call in additional guys to help, because again it's we raise these young men with the village mentality around here, so it's the same thing in the recruiting process. We want them to know exactly what they're getting into, and the only way they're going to know that is to have access to their position coach, the coordinators, and even guys on the other side of the ball.
the brand of Clemson, it just keeps expanding. It amazes me to see where you all are going now in this country to recruit.
It's unbelievable. It's crazy. You know, we flew out to California, and you walk into a school, and you don't have anything that says Clemson. You just have the Tiger Paw, and immediately, boom, they know that's Clemson. And then some of the kids out there are just like, man, I can't believe you actually came this far. I've been waiting on this. And so definitely the brand is strong, and we got to make sure that we protect the brand. And obviously, you do have the ability to branch out a little bit further nationally, but you also got to make sure that you don't just rely on the brand, that you do your research and you get the right fit to maintaining the culture that we have in place here.
Well, and the brand obviously has grown because of the winning 4 years in a row, obviously in the college football playoffs, the national championship just a couple of years ago. But the brand is also helped out by those that have been here already and have moved on. I was talking with Jeff Scott about this. You know, what guys are doing in the National Football League is a huge help to what you all do recruiting-wise.
No question. I think that's probably gets the most publicity, because obviously they're playing on the biggest stage and they're doing well, they're performing, but also the Paul journey and what we're doing with life after football, and those guys being back around when we have recruits on campus, so that they can see that not only are we going to prepare you and provide you opportunity to play in the National Football League, and we don't control that's ordained long before we even get involved in the process. If that's for you, it's going to be for you, but everyone can be a college graduate who comes through here, and that's the expectation. And so when you have those two components working together, the publicity of the guys playing in the National Football League, but a lot of those guys are also graduates too. So we can also tell them that you can accomplish all of your academic goals and objectives before you even have an opportunity to go to the National Football League.
And playing on that Paul journey theme, it's not only graduating the kids that are here, but it's the contact, it's the mentorships and all that kind of stuff that happen. Well, that's right behind us, behind the wall is right behind us. What happens in that area is invaluable.
No question. You talk about recruiting. Recruiting is all about relationships. It starts with the relationship between the recruiter and the high school coach. Then it goes to the recruit and his family. And it's the same thing in corporate America and business. It's all about relationships. Yes, you have to have the skills and the ability to do it, but at the end of the day, somebody has to take a chance on you, and that's all about. That's what we're trying to prepare our guys. Make sure that you have your ducks in a row, that you're qualified, and then once you're qualified, you can use all of the connections to help you find what you're passionate about in the future.
You know, as you look at this class that you all have put together from an offensive side, you know, there are certain numbers that you had to get at wide receiver. You've already talked about your position with running back, offensive lineman. All the pieces have come together here for you.
No question, and you know, Coach talks about it all the time. We want to go deep sea fishing. We don't want to just cast out a net and see what we pull in. Hey, we got a carp, we got a little piece of tuna. We want to go be specific, and so he's very, very detailed and organized in the numbers. He lets us know exactly what the expectation is from a fit standpoint, and then he allows us to go recruit our position. And then once we identify the guys, we team recruit and we try to fill the numbers, but make sure we have the right fit for each of those numbers.
And Tony, it looks like that we're going to sign a national class that's going to be primarily in everybody's top 10 from that perspective. And when you recruit that type and caliber of athlete, like you said, you're out there, all right, I want really to see if we can get in on this guy. That's tough. That is difficult to do, to go out and beat some of the programs that you all are beating for these players.
No question, and there's a lot of really good football programs throughout the country, but we believe that there's only one Clemson. And so all we focus on is selling what we can do for the young men, and it's going to start with building them off the field, which is going to translate to success on the field. And we never lose sight of that. So even though we're getting to some of the bigger recruiting battles, we want to make sure that we're still
yeah, I think we're all right, Coach.
We got a couple.
I think you're doing good.
We're good.
Oh, no,
we ain't got to that yet. We're still talking recruiting.
We're not even worried about second or third down and no fourth down conversions.
But just making sure that we don't get caught up in the recruiting piece of it, and we go and we identify the fit. And it starts with character first and academics. Obviously, with the reputation that we have academically here as a university, being a top 25 public institution, we can't just recruit guys to get into school. We got to recruit guys that can go compete and be the best with the best of the best in the classroom. So even though we're in the upper echelon with some of the big boys in recruiting, we got to make sure that we focus on the fit first.
And Tony, I got to talk a little bit about Coach Sweeney. With I know what he means to you personally. I mean, I think all of us know the story and know what he means to you personally. But when you take him on the road recruiting, it's got to be like unlike anything else.
Oh, no question. Just get out of the way and let him go to work. I mean, he's got an unbelievable way with people. He's very, very passionate about the program. You know, he cares first and foremost about the young man as a young man first, and not just a football player. And once you get him in a home, I mean, he seals the deal. And then once they come on campus, they're able to see and feel the message. Not just see it, but really feel the message. And so it's just validated when he gets in the home and he's able to visit with the family.
All right, I got to talk to you a little bit about the playoffs. All right, first and foremost, 4 years in a row in this thing, Tony. I mean, does it boggle your mind a little bit?
Not yet, and because we don't focus on it. You know, our objective is we never talk about the national championship. We talk about our goals that we have, and it starts with winning the opener. And we take it, you know, one day, one practice, one game at a time. So this is just the next game. This is the biggest game on the schedule because it's the next game. And I think because of that mentality, we've been able to be consistent, you know, on the field. And I think, you know, years from now, and Coach told the team the other day, he said 5-10 years from now, it'll really sink in. But right now, we're just living in the moment. We know we got a business trip going out to Dallas. We're playing a very, 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 very good football team, especially with a very, 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 very good defensive front that's going to challenge us. So we know the task at hand, and we got to make sure that we don't waste a second in preparation. Don't grow weary in doing what's right and good, making sure we're focusing on the details, and the guys have really bought in, and we've had good preparation so far.
Yeah, you all have played some physical football games this year. Make no mistake about it. But something tells me on December 29th, you better bring your big boy pants because this is going to be a physical football game.
No question. And once you get to the playoff, you're talking about the 4 best teams in the country. I mean, it's going to be won in the trenches. Everybody's going to have great skill. Everybody's going to have a great scheme. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the one-on-one matchups. And they got an unbelievable defensive front. They're very, very deep. It looks like they rotate 10 guys in there. They got an unbelievable player in Tillery. He's an All-American. That's going to cause some problems. And obviously, we got to make sure that we, like you said, we bring our big boy britches and we're ready to play. And they're going to stay fresh. They got 2 great linebackers. Their secondary is probably the best secondary we've faced all year. So it's going to be a good challenge all the way across the board. So every position has to come with the right mindset. They got to bring their own guts. They got to have their jaws set, and it's going to be a fist fight.
You know, speaking of that, staying fresh, one of the key aspects I think that this football team this year has just been the sheer number of players that you all have played game in and game out. It is not unusual for us to go through the first 15 minutes of a game and see you all play 50 or more players in that first quarter. And I think it's really paid dividends for you. It looks like because physically now, the guys, and also I think mentally, the guys are really, really in a good spot.
You know, I think that's a testament to the entire program. You know, it starts with strength and conditioning and having those guys, even the younger guys, ready to play physically. And then with nutrition, you know, you got to shout out the nutrition staff. They have these guys ready to go from a nutrition standpoint. And then the guys take pride in preparation. And Coach believes in playing guys that deserve to play. And if they deserve to play, we're going to get them in the game. And I think, as you said, that does play dividends as we go down the stretch, because you do have, you know, guys that have less miles on them. But at the same time, too, you got a lot of guys with a lot of experience, too, ready to step up if their numbers call.
I don't know, and I don't know if it's been a concerted effort this year to do what you all have done, but has that also helped you on the recruiting trail? The fact that, listen, we've gone on the road 3 times this year with 72 players, and we've played 72 players. Is that a selling point?
I would like to think so. I think that a lot of times there's promises that are made in recruiting that aren't necessarily fulfilled, but we have the ability to show you and prove and say, look, we've played all of our guys, especially at running back. 4 running backs you're talking about with 50-plus carries. You got one that's leading the country in yards per carry, and he's a freshman. You know, he's 4th on the depth chart, and he's getting to play. And then you got other guys that are close to 500 yards rushing, and you have the ACC Player of the Year. So you can go and say, hey, I'm not just saying it, I can prove it to you. And you go back to the year before, and you had 4 guys that were playing. And you go back the year before, you had 3 or 4 guys that are playing. So not only can you say it, but you can actually show it to them. And that's big in recruiting. These young men, they want to come in, they want to play now. That's why they're coming out early. They're enrolling in school in January because they want to have an opportunity to play their first year.
All right, well, job well done here today. Appreciate the job that you're doing for us here at Clemson. All the best to you and the wife and the family this Christmas season.
Appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you and your family as well.
All right, thank you very much. There you go. Tony Elliott has been with us here at the desk. We're going to work our defensive coordinator and linebacker coach Brent Venables up here, and we'll talk to Brent a little bit about this recruiting day, and then also defensively maybe what his Tigers have in store here for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame in the semifinal game that'll be in the Cotton Bowl on December the 29th. So Coach Venables will step in here, and we will do that as we welcome in our defensive coordinator and linebacker coach, Brent Venables. By the way, happy birthday to you, a day late. I saw you yesterday and wished you happy birthday. It's good to be 29.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it feels good. I feel 48, but I'll take 29. Yeah.
Hopefully you got a little bit of time, I hope, last night with the family to do a little bit.
Yeah, we had a great time. Good night. Good night.
All right. Well, this is a big day for you. This is for a football coach. This is a little bit like Christmas, a little bit like Christmas early, because you get all these presents now that are signing on the dotted line.
Yeah, how appropriate, right? It being just a little less than a week out from Christmas, and just an amazing group of young men. As much as you got to be a really good player. That kind of gets you in the door, gets you in the conversation, gets you on the board. But, we're really intentional trying to find, the right kind of people that are going to fit the culture. They're looking for the right things. And, this is a group of guys that, that are very committed, where they're at. They're great leaders in their own teams and in their own communities. And just amazing group of players. But their parents, too, they're going to fit right in. And so we're really fortunate. We've got ourselves better. When you lose as many quality people and players that you do, you got to replace them with the right kind of people, and we've hit on that.
All right, as I look at the signing page here, I think there was 5 linebackers that you all were intending to sign here, and by my count, everybody has signed, at least from what I assume. So I'm going to let you talk about these young men that are coming into this program.
Yeah, so I'll start here at the top with Brighton Constantine, and a young man out of Baton Rouge, University Lab High School. They just won their second state championship. And Brighton's a guy that we identified a year ago in January as an instinctual, athletic linebacker that plays with a lot of passion, a lot of energy. He's got good length to him. Still got to add some strength and some size to him, but he's a worker. He's also on a starter on the basketball team, on a really, really good basketball team. And he's just a guy that loves to compete, and he's a great leader. And again, he's going to be that guy that's really loud, because he just has so much personality and enthusiasm and love to compete. And Keith Mcguire comes from a private all-boys school up at Malvern Prep, a very reputable and powerhouse in the private league up there in Pennsylvania. He's up for the Mr. Football Award. He's a finalist for that goes to the most complete student athlete football player. So, and that it entails, obviously you got to be a really good player. You got to have excellent academics, and then community service, leadership, those types of things. So real proud of Keith. And another guy, again, we identified. I remember I was on the ski slopes in Colorado last February, and as soon as signing day got over for the 18 class, we identified Keith. And Brandon Streeter had known his former high school coach and had recommended Keith, and then we got onto the video and kind of started the process from there. But Keith is, again, another super ultra focused linebacker, incredible instincts, great hands. I think he had one of the top 10 catches on all Sports Center a year ago as a tight end. Just a terrific athlete and a tough guy, and a guy that we're thrilled to have. Vontae Bentley, Bates went down and stolen one out of Alabama. Vontae is he's a thumper. He's a striker. Can really run. Got a great spirit to him. Very low maintenance. Very committed. Loves the weight room. Very powerful. Plays fast. Just a very humble young guy that he's just about all the right things. Just takes care of his business. He's not into the riffraff. And he's a guy that can get sideline to sideline. So really excited about Vontae and what he brings to the table. Comes again, transferred into Jackson Olin High School, and they made a run to right near the end. And again, I look at Brighton. He's a captain and a leader of his team. They won the state championship. Keith, they were undefeated, won their state title, and he is the by a long ways, he's the leader, the alpha dog on his high school team. Vontae, they made it to the semifinals there in, I believe that's 5A or 6A football there in Birmingham, and he just had a wonderful year. They used him a little bit as a wildcat quarterback too. Speaks of his athletic ability. Greg Williams, he's a guy that came to camp last year, and I would say his best football still ahead of him. He worked out. Trey Lamar was our linebacker coach helping me out in camp when we worked out Greg, and you put those two jokers next to each other, and Greg's broader and longer, probably longer by about 4 or 5 inches than Trey Lamar in his length, and really think that Greg can be a really, really big linebacker and might grow out of it and put his hand in the dirt one day, which he'd be a terrific athlete there doing that. And so we took Greg as an athlete that can do a lot of things, and had a coaching change right before the season, and still had a really good year. They struggled a little bit as a team, but did make it to the playoffs and won a game, and I played in the Shrine Bowl this last weekend and started that and played well, and really excited about Greg. He really closes to the ball well, has excellent hips, and can really run, and has got good instinct. So we get him polished up. Really think that he has a chance to be a really good player, and can maybe in multiple roles. And then Cain Patterson, another leader, captain, just checks every box. Academics, his service to his community and his school, undefeated state champs. So you're looking at 3 of the 5 that were state champions. They're all captains. Vontae made it right to the end and lost a 1-point game in their playoffs. So these guys are winners, and they're focused, ultra focused, very serious. They love ball. They love the grind. Excellent students, and all low maintenance guys. Everything that you enjoy going to the meeting room and the practice field and showing up on game day with. Those are all qualities that, some things you can bring with you, some things you can't. But when you got work ethic, when you got intelligence, when you got passion and love for the game, those are things that you can't coach. And guys either bring them or they don't. And these are guys that have zero prima donna in them. And these guys are grinders, and they're winners. They're going to find a way at the end of the day to help make us better. And they're going to contribute to a culture and a locker room that are about those types of things. They're going to continue that tradition and enhance it.
You talk about identifying players, and you share that story about the one young kid here at camp. The Dabo Swinney football camp now, it is a working man's camp. You come in and you're here for usually 3 days when you hold the 2 high school sessions that you hold, and that has become such a big part of recruiting for you all.
Yeah, and I think not that we have this monopoly on how to do camps better than everybody else. We have it our way. It's not a combine. You're not out here running 40s and getting guys to see how high they can jump and those types of things. And that information is not bad information. It's all good stuff to have, but you only have so much time. And so you're trying to see guys, how they compete, how they, react to coaching and in correction. Certainly, functionally, how they move around. And we do try to strain them and see how they, again, respond and put them in a variety of football functional drills that not only can you do a good job evaluating, but it also gives them an opportunity to get better. Spending whatever they spend, they come here, they can get better and work on their craft. So, Greg is another example of a young guy that really we were very aware of, but I don't think that we offered Greg without him coming to camp and really kind of see him move and change direction and compete, and how well he runs and can stick a foot in the ground. So, our camp's been extremely beneficial for us. Again, I got Jalen Lay here. Not that I'm the tight ends guy, but man, I've not seen a more competitive player than Jalen Lay, and his skill set is super, super special. I think, because we matched up with the tight ends in a lot of the one-on-ones during camp. And Jalen Lay is the most impressive tight end prospect that I've seen in a camp since I've been coaching. And hopefully he brings work ethic and toughness and competitiveness and the willingness to grind with him. I believe he will, because I think he's made of the right kind of stuff. But, man, I really, really like what he's about. Sorry to get off on that tangent here, but his name, and I've been as impressed with him as any guy I've seen in camp at any position.
See, I love that. That's what folks want to hear. One last thing for you. And I often hear you all talk about, now, y'all are great recruiters, but the most important recruiters you have are the kids that are already here on campus. And, boy, what a special group of guys you have here on campus to sell the next breed of Clemson Tigers.
No question. Our best asset, and we've said it many times, are the players that we currently have. And if you invest, if you invest in them and you put all your focus on them, then everything else really does take care of itself. And they're great ambassadors for it. They know that they're challenged and they're stretched, and but they're loved on, and they're developed in all the right ways. And they know that we care about them, and that this truly is a family. And so they're going to be expressive in that way. And what I love too is our players are not going to try to sugarcoat things and try to trick a guy to come here. They're going to be as transparent as we are as coaches. And the other thing is sometimes people don't know is maybe a guy's here for the weekend and our players hang out with them, and then they'll come back to us on, say, Sunday or Monday and say, hey, man, I know y'all like this guy, but I'm not sure if he's our kind of guy. And it's always good to get that kind of feedback as well.
Great information to have. Hey, always good to see you. Thanks for being with us. Congratulations on today.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
All right, there you go, Brent Venables. All right, so we've got a presentation that is happening up on the stage behind us. So we're going to kind of switch over to that. Davis Babb from IPTAY is there. Going to do a presentation here for Coach Sweeney.
He's going to have a brief presentation in just a minute. But before we get to that, I just wanted to say that really on behalf of IPTAY, our 17,000 members, our board, our coaches, our student athletes, how much we appreciate being part of all of this. And as I think Coach Sweeney has said a number of times, these are the best of times, and we're just getting started. And so we're very excited about supporting all of our student athletes in their ventures here as they come into Clemson. This is also a special day because after this ceremony, we're going to have a student-athlete graduation brunch in the Neary Center facility, and we'll have 36 student-athletes that will be graduating. I think the number's 14 from football today, from undergraduate and graduate school. Is just incredible. And this is a big deal as classes go out and then new classes come in. And we're going to hear about those incoming classes. This is what makes one of the many reasons that make Clemson so special. So I want to turn this over to President Robinson. He's going to have a few comments. He's going to read a little something to you. And what you're about to see is an effort on behalf of IPTAY to show our appreciation to Dabo, to Kathleen, and the entire family for everything he has done and continues to do for IPTAY and Clemson Athletics. So please join me in welcoming our president of the board, Dr. Eddie Robinson.
Thank you, Davis. You know that since its inception over 70 years ago, IPTAY has always been all in when it comes to support of athletics and student athletes here at Clemson. That's manifested in so many ways. We provide the scholarships for our student athletes. We provide academic and wellness support for student athletes. And recently we've ventured into helping with construction costs for facilities like this football operations facility, the indoor practice facility, the renovations of the Little John Coliseum, and the tennis facility. But today is not about IPTAY. Today is about football, specifically our head football coach, Coach Dabo Sweeney. So at this point, Coach Sweeney and Kathleen, are you here? If you guys would just come up. We have a little proclamation here that Davis is gonna hold up, and I'm gonna read to, I'm sure you guys in the back can read this, okay? So I'm gonna read it. It'll be available for everyone to read a little bit later on, but I'm gonna tell you what it says. It says, IPTAY salutes and congratulates head football coach Dabo Sweeney for his unparalleled 10-year leadership of Clemson Tiger football program. IPTAY sincerely appreciates his countless contributions to Clemson University, the Clemson Athletic Department, and specifically his support of IPTAY's organization and our over 17,000 donors. Through his efforts, Clemson University, Clemson Athletics, and IPTAY have enjoyed record-breaking success. Whereas Coach Sweeney led the Clemson Tigers to the College Football Playoff's national championship in 2017 with a 35-13 victory over the University of Alabama in a game many said was the most exciting in college football. Whereas he led the team to the College Football Playoff national championship in 2016. Whereas he led the team to his third consecutive college football playoff appearance in 2018. Whereas he's led the team to a spot in the college football playoff in 2019, which brings the Clemson football program to 4 consecutive appearances in the college football playoff. Whereas during his 10-year tenure as head coach at Clemson, he's compiled a bowl record of 7-5. Whereas he has led the team to 5 consecutive state championships. and living in Columbia, that's huge. Whereas he has led the team to 4 consecutive ACC football championships, the first time that's been accomplished in ACC football history. Whereas he has received National Coach of the Year accolades in 5 different seasons. Whereas he's been selected ACC Coach of the Year 2 times. Whereas entering the 2018 season, a total of 183 of 188 senior lettermen, that's 97%, in his 9 full years as head coach at Clemson have graduated. Whereas all 24 seniors on the 2016 National Championship team and all 11 seniors on the 2017 team that reached the college football playoff graduated. Yeah. Whereas he is a major donor to IPTAY and highest level annual donor. Thank you. Whereas IPTAY stands by his side and recognizes the incredible growth of the football program under his leadership. Whereas he has brought national awareness to Clemson University and to Clemson athletics. Whereas he has expanded the Tiger brand, been a positive voice and advocate for the university and community, and been a model leader of young men in his care, and has changed the culture of the entire athletic program. Whereas we recognize that the support he receives from his wife, Kathleen, his sons, Will, Drew, and Clay, are positive factors in his success. Be it therefore resolved that IPTAY thanks Coach Dabo Sweeney for all his many contributions to Clemson University, Clemson Athletic Department, and our local community. At the bottom it says, presented to Coach Sweeney on this, the 19th day of December 2018 by the IPTAY Board of Directors President, Dr. Eddie Robinson, and Chief Executive Officer Davis Babb, on behalf of the entire IPTAY Board of Directors and our 17,000 donors.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right, good morning. Good morning. Can y'all hear me? All right. Well, whereas this jacket still fits me 10 years later, how about that? All right. Put a whereas in there. Somebody asked me, this is the original jacket I got 10 years ago. I mean, how many orange jackets do you need? Man, well, thank you so much, Davis and Eddie, all the IPTAY. I mean, I so appreciate it. But listen, you know, and I've done my part. There's no doubt about that. But to God be all the glory, because He's the one that brought me here. I'm simply here by the grace of God and as a tool for God. And so I know that, and I'm just thankful for all the players that have been a part of it for 10 years, all of our staff, so unbelievable staff. And so no one person can do anything. I think everybody has a role and everybody has a part, and I try to do my part to the very best of my ability. So I just really appreciate the recognition, and with that, I just want to welcome everybody. It's awesome to be here. I see the hat in the back there, but this is special. I mean, this is special. I can't imagine that there's many other college football programs that have a day like this laid out. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, it's what makes this place so special is the people and the passion. You know, an organization like IPTAY, and just such a, you know, it's like everybody's got their hands on the rope and pulling in the same direction. And when you have that, man, you can do some amazing things. And you know, I'm excited. I had Jimmy Howard came to see me at practice yesterday, and you know, so, apparently the very first bowl in Clemson history was 1939 season, I guess, 1940 Cotton Bowl. Maybe there's a couple of you there. I don't know. And Clemson won 6-3 over Boston College. But Jimmy Howard wanted to come by and take a picture. Maybe it's somewhere on I don't know if he does social media, but it'll get out, I'm sure. But he wanted me. He didn't like my hat that I had on whenever we did they announced it. I had somebody's cowboy hat I put on. And so he brought me Frank Howard's hat that he wore in 1939, and had Frank Howard on the inside, written Frank Howard, and I put it on, and I looked like Festus from was that Gunsmoke? You know, Festus. That's in my mind because my dad, he watched Bonanza and Gunsmoke on a 24-hour loop. You know, when he got cable and realized that they had a channel for that. So I look like Festus or Hoss Cartwright. But anyway, I'm excited, and this is truly a special day and a special opportunity for us. But we're going to kick it off. Again, awesome to be a Tiger. Every day is great to be a Tiger, but this is Orange Jacket Day because that means that we've got a bunch of new Tigers coming on board. And but to kick it off, we thought we would have a little video to kind of set the tempo for the day. So let's tune in and enjoy that.
What's the matter? Never seen a Grinch before? That's a nice camera. Be a shame if somebody stole it. Look at all those terrible Christmas decorations so perfectly packaged. I bet the Tigers are looking to sign a top recruiting class. Pity. They'll rue the day they didn't recruit the Grinch. Nobody in here sleeping! Wake up! Hate, 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 double hate. Loathe entirely. Who has a slide in a facility? Stupid. I heard Trevor was looking for some new hair product. This should work perfectly. Where all the recruiting magic happens. 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. I'm just looking for a good athlete. I might know a guy. He might be green.
Hey Grinch, it's Coach Sweeney. Hey look, hey, get your head up. Been watching some tape. I know you don't really have any offers, but you know, we see a lot of potential. You know, tomorrow's signing day, it's a big day, and I just want to know if you're ready to be all in. So
I just flipped the script, I just flipped the switch, I pulled out the whip, I got her thinking I'm rich, I just flipped the script, I just flipped the switch.
all right, man. Hey, that's awesome. Hey, we're excited. We're glad to have you. Make sure you show up ready.
Finally. If you would have just said that from the start, I wouldn't have to waste all this time with a stupid red suit. I'm not taking this stuff back. I'm gonna take it to my house. Max, get a pen. I have to sign a letter of intent.
Is that not hilarious? Oh my goodness. I tell you, our video group, they do an amazing job. Creative media, it's amazing. So as you can see, Clemson, or Christmas has come early in Clemson, South Carolina this year. So we've got all the decorations and so I think it's only fitting that the first person we introduce is none other than Santa. So if you will look to the Santa Claus, otherwise known as Santa Paul's, coming down the hill here. This is quite the authentic Santa. Merry Christmas, Santa.
Oh, we got some good gifts for you today coming.
Yeah, I appreciate your, when in Rome, do as Rome. You got the right colors on.
Absolutely.
You look great today.
Been watching you guys all year, and I said I want to go with the good guys. And hey, I'm with the good guys. Get it? Huh?
Make sure you
I see a couple out there that's trying to take my place. I'm okay.
Hey, well, thank you. I appreciate
you,
I
and,
appreciate you making an early special trip
For you
us.
guys, anything.
Thank you.
Anything. Today is going to be a great day because today's about our future.
That's right.
And it's Tiger fans. So thank you once again, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
You're gonna stick around, right?
Absolutely. Here we go.
All right, so we got Santa on board. We're glad to have him here. I know he's very busy this time of year. He's got a lot going on, but for him to take time to come down and be a part of this day, we really, really appreciate it. And our newest recruit, who you just learned a little bit about, we're really excited to have him. And escorting him down the hill will be my wife, Kathleen. So let's introduce the Grinch. Come on down, Grinch. Kath took the steps.
There you go,
Hi, Grinch. We're glad to have you. Nice tights, by the way. And I'm just thankful that Jordan Sorrell's got that hair product and not Trevor. So appreciate you switching that out before you got over here. But we're glad to have you today and really, really excited. So So, all right, time out. All right, I'm gonna take a time out. This is live TV, by the way. All right, this is time out. All right, so I want to just make a point, because again, we have our students, all of our media group, you know, and Jonathan Gant and that whole group, and then all of our team over here. I'm telling you, they just do an unbelievable job. And but DJ Gordon is our creative media guy and works a lot all of our football operations as well. And he's just one of those guys that man, he is so valuable to our organization and what we do. And I challenge everybody to be a thinker. I tell everybody every day, don't look to me to be the you know, one-stop shop think tank here. Okay, everybody's a thinker. And so DJ's one of those guys that's always thinking, and he came to me a few days ago and he says, hey, what do you think about it? He's like, I love it, let's do it. And he put this all together. So take your mask off so everybody knows who DJ Gordon is. This is DJ Gordon. This is DJ. And he does an amazing job. How about his voice? I mean, that was so, I mean, I was a little scared. But, all right, put your mask on so they don't know a grown man's wearing tights out here like that. So. Okay. All right. We're going to kick this thing off. Just a couple things. First of all, it is a blessing to be able to recruit the best of the best, for sure. And that's what we try to do every single year, is to evaluate and recruit who we feel like fits our culture, fits our program, and again, the best of the best. Our culture is what sustains our program, and culture is a product of the people that we have here. And we can't ever lose sight of that. You know, the people are the ones who drive the culture and create it. And so if you're going to be intentional on that, you have to always be mindful of who's coming in the door. And one of the things that I always challenge our staff on is I do not want it to be a wide path to Clemson. I want it to be a very narrow gate, all right, like it teaches in the Bible. I want it to be a very narrow gate. And in order for that to be the case, we have to do an amazing job in our evaluation. And, man, we have unbelievable people in place here. And I'm so thankful for them. I'm thankful for our staff. First and foremost, we have from top to bottom, the best staff in the country. We have a lot of fun. We have great chemistry. Sometimes we may not like each other, but we always love each other. And I think that's a uncommon quality and characteristic when you talk about, you know, 100-plus people all working together in close quarters every day for many, many, many hours. So it's an amazing staff. We have amazing families. Our families are all involved in everything that we do here at Clemson. Everything. It's a big part of our program and what we do. Our wives, our kids, husbands, you know, everybody is a part of it. And that's one of the reasons we've been so successful. Our board of trustees. Our board is, many of them are here today. Our board is unbelievable. And I've been around college athletics for a long time. And it is more uncommon than common when you have alignment. You know, when you have board, president, AD, head football coach, all on the same page, in alignment, and working together for a common purpose. And that is to make Clemson the best university, and for me to have the best program, model program in college football. And so our board is unbelievable. I'm just here to tell you. And our board has guts. You know, Terry Don gets a lot of credit for hiring me 10 years ago, as he should. But the board had to sign off on that. And so, you know, we have an incredible board. And then you meet our president. President Clements is unbelievable. I mean, he is amazing with his energy, with his vision for Clemson, with his passion, how he engages with everybody. He's incredibly selfless, and you know, just just serves. He just serves. He does all the time. And I don't see him, but I see his wife, Beth, who is the reason he is all of those things. She always will say, oh, clap for the nobody. She calls herself a nobody, but she is everybody. She is the one who makes that house run. So, and then you get into our administration. Listen, Dan Radakovich and Graham Neff. You know, Dan would be the first one to tell you that Graham, he probably doesn't get the credit that he deserves, because I know, you know, just like Woody for me, Graham to Dan, man, it takes a team, and those guys do an amazing job in working with us and helping us meet the needs that we have to continue to be great. Because let me tell you something, the road to greatness is always under construction, forever. Like, if you go to Greenville, when is that I-85 not under construction? When they're done on I-85 and like everybody just gets kicked back on the sidewalk with their lounge chairs, let me know, all right? It will never be done. It's like when I go to New York, I'm getting off tangent here, but when I go to New York, we go every December, and every year I tell Woody the same thing. If I ever get out of coaching, I'm going to go to New York, and I'm getting in the scaffolding business. Y'all know what scaffolding is? All right, that's some things because they're never out of work. Ever. Because all they do is they finish something over here and they just move it over here on this side of the street because it's unbelievable. You just spend your whole 3 days walking under scaffolding everywhere in the city. Greatness is always under construction. You never finish. You never arrive. But that's what it's all about. You know, it's not about achieving something and standing on top of a mountain and saying, hey, man, no, it's about enjoying the whole journey. And it's just really the journey that makes it so much fun. So, man, I'm just so thankful for Dan and Graham for giving us the opportunities that we have. And then IPTAY. I mean, what they provide for our student athletes. And that is a direct reflection of the people of Clemson. The people of Clemson who are so generous and always have been. You know, all the way back to I pay $10 a year. Literally, $10. You know, and to where it's grown into today. And a lot of people in IPTAY aren't even Clemson graduates, but they love Clemson, and they support Clemson, they give to Clemson. So it's just amazing to be able to be a part of it. And you know, we won our 4th ACC championship game on December 1, which was the day that I got hired 10 years ago. And for me, it seems like just a blink of an eye. It's been so fast. And, you know, I remember vividly saying 10 years ago, we're going to build a championship program and that everybody can be proud of. And to win our 4th ACC championship and be the first team to do that in ACC history on that very day, 10 years later, December 1, I think that's God's plan. Simple as that. But I think we've walked it out in faith and in perseverance. Accountability, transparency, and all those things. And more importantly, in how we have served our players and helped a bunch of young people acquire the tools that they need to go on and do great things in life. So, man, it's a really a blessing. And then also from our recruiting standpoint, Thad Turnipseed and Jordan Sorrells, Ty Clements, Morgan Tadlock, the job that they do is never ending. Never. And I mean, we have a rock star group in our recruiting office. I mean, they do an amazing job. And so I'm just really proud of them and then how they manage our interns and our student workers. Those guys do a wonderful job. So just really appreciate that whole group. So let's give all of them a hand. Jordan had hair before he came over here and worked in the recruiting department, so I don't know what happened, but we appreciate you, Jordan. Thanks for all you do, man. All right, college football. It's all about personnel. It's all about personnel. It's about players. It's about staff. And again, we got a wonderful staff, and over the last 10 years, we have evaluated, we have signed, and we have developed a bunch of great players. All right, and as a result, we've become an incredibly consistent program on the field, off the field, academics, and in recruiting. So It's so important that we continue to do that with our 5th consecutive senior class that is graduating and leaving as the winningest class in Clemson history. All right, 5th senior class in a row, and this class also the winningest class in ACC history, and with 2 more wins, the winningest class in college football history. All right. With that walking out the door, it's important that we do what I just said: evaluate, sign, and develop very well. And so we needed to go out and sign a great group of new Tigers. And as always, hey, time will tell if we were right, and on the guys that we are bringing in this class. But on paper and in person, it appears we have crushed it. I will just say that. All right, so I'm really, really excited about it. We signed today, we have signed 26 guys. Is Jeff Scott here? Where's Jeff Scott? Is he around here? We're good? All right, we've signed 26 guys, and 16 of them are mid-years, which is unbelievable. Currently, we have 9 on offense, 16 on defense. Venables wins again. And we signed 1 on special teams with a punter. So that's our class. This is our 9th. I have no idea what the rankings will end up being, but I know we'll be somewhere in the top 15. So it's our 9th consecutive top 15 class. I will say this: we've never signed the #1 class in America. And that's never been our goal. We want to sign the right guys. Other people can evaluate and critique and whatever they want to. It's what we believe in, and that's how we've won. But we have signed our 9th consecutive top 15 class in a row. Our brand is unbelievably strong. It's incredible. We do need IPTAY. We do need to get Wi-Fi on our plane. I'm just going right over Dan on that one, and just going to let y'all know. I know that's Graham. That wasn't on my notes. It just popped into my head because, as a lot of my thoughts do. But I've been to 14 states. Okay. I mean, I have flown to California. I've been all up and down California. I have seen the landscape of the country. So. I was able to get on Rodney Williams' plane a couple times, and man, he's got Wi-Fi. And so I was able to calls, I was able to text, email. I mean, for hours. It was 5 hours. I mean, I've been to Detroit. I've been to places I ain't ever seen. In fact, we're coming down in Detroit. I've never been to Michigan. It was my first time to ever go to Michigan. I'm so excited to go to Detroit. I've never been there. And so I'm coming down, and we're coming down the airplane, and they're getting lower, and I guess you get certain height, I had Wi-Fi, so everything just kind of comes through your text. So, and we ding, and I look up, and I got a message, and it says, "Welcome to Canada." And I went, "What the heck? Welcome to Canada." It says you have travel pass, so you can use your phone or whatever. And I'm going, what in the heck? I had no idea that we were over Toronto, that Michigan, my geography cuts off past South Carolina. I just quit learning. That's all I needed to know. So I had no idea that Toronto is literally right next to Detroit. And so anyway, I screenshot that just so I could keep it. I thought it was kind of cool. Because Ambassador, I've never been to Canada, so I count that. I was in the air of Toronto. So anyway, off topic again. 14 different states we have been to, and that's our brand. That's our brand. We signed 1 each from South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Connecticut, Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Louisiana, California. Did I say Missouri? Missouri, Michigan, and then we signed 2 from Alabama. And we signed 6 from Florida, 7 from Georgia. All right? So we've been all over the place. You know why? Because people call us. And I've told our staff, we had this heated discussion last year in the spring because they changed the rules. And they changed the rules that you could do official visits in the spring. And so we're in that war room that you saw, and Jordan remembers this very well, and we're having this whole discussion. And the coaches get a lot of pressure put on them because, you know, these 10th graders got 50 offers and you know, all this stuff. And they ain't nobody even met the people. And so now they're wanting to do official visits. Well, everybody wants to do official visits. And everybody wants to come see Clemson now. And so, you know, 10 years ago, we probably would have had to do official visits in the spring. But that's not where we are. And I made a statement in the staff. I said, guys, I'm just going to tell you right now, so don't even matter. We're not going to do official visits in the spring. And it was a lot of spirited conversation, all right? Because, you know, the pressure, well, how are we going to be, he's going to visit here, and he's visiting here, and he's visiting here. Well, that's fine. That's fine. But if he's going to come to Clemson, everybody wants to get on a plane, and we'll pay for them to come, and everybody wants to come see Clemson. So we're going to be tour guides all spring. And I'm not doing that to our families. I'm not doing that to all the people who are involved in it. If a guy won't come here unofficially and be invested on his own, he's not coming for 4 years, all right? And so I want guys that have a little pain to get here, all right? And we got one young man that came from California 3 times on his own. You know, I mean, we have, and so I said, you just write it down. We'll have 20 commits by August 1. Put it on the board, put it up there. And they did, you know, and we walked out of there, and that was the end of it. We didn't do a single official visit. And the point being is, you know, and I always tell them, our brand has grown so much now. It's kind of like, do you ever see a Rolls-Royce commercial? How many times you're sitting in a chair and you see I don't even know what another fancy car is, but a Rolls-Royce commercial. You don't see those because the value of their brand brings people to them. And that's kind of where we are as a program. Our brand has grown to the point that people want to come and see Clemson. It's become like they want the offer from Clemson, and they're not going to get it if they don't come see it. And so it's made us unique, and I love that about where we are, and that's reflective in our signing classes. So we're able to really choose the right people, all right? Because my whole thing is if we recruit and hire, when we have staff opportunities, people first, then players and coaches, that will take care of itself, all right? And so that's what we've done with this class. I'm excited about it. And I want to say how excited and grateful I am for this young group of men. It's one of the best things I get to do is to go around and see their environment, to get in their world and see, because I know they're going to bring that with them. And this, I was telling our staff this other day, this is an amazing group of young people and unbelievable families coming with them. And it's so fun for me because I get to go around and I see why they picked Clemson. It's very easy for me to see why they picked us. It's and the fit that they felt. So it's awesome to be a part of it, and I just am so thankful for these families for believing in me, for believing in our staff, for believing in Clemson, and believing in the vision that we have for our program. And they want to be a part of that. So it's exciting every time a young man chooses to come be a part of it. So with that, let's meet them. Let's celebrate our Tigers. That's what we're here to do today, and we're going to crank it up. I'm going to say, first and foremost, we're going to start at quarterback. We got Coach Brandon Streeter and his wife, Ashley. They're going to come down and introduce Tyson Puma. And I think Mason Morgan is with him. Maymo. All right. Tyson Puma. Vanna, can I buy a vowel? All right, Maymo. Okay, Maymo. Maymo put the chip in. So Tyson Puma, he is from Bridgeport, Connecticut, Avon Old Farm School. Let me tell him about this school. All right, so I went up to this school last week. It was built in 1927. It's a boarding school, all male. All right, and he's been living there since the 9th grade in a closet, literally a closet is where he's been living. But an amazing mega school, coat and tie every day. This is a very mature young man that no doubt will make a great transition. He's going to be a mid-year. He was coached by Coach Pierce Brennan, again, from Connecticut. So we got the chip in. Brandon's going to start building our board right there. And I think Santa, we appreciate this. We're going to hang him on the tree. Tyson Puma. Thank you, Santa. All right, next up. Oh, Santa. Looks like a great gift you got right here. This looks a little heavier, huh? All right, introducing our safeties that we have in this class. We have signed 4 safeties in this class, but Coach Mickey Kahn and his wife, Haley, come on down. Oh, Mickey? Okay. Santa, I think this should be your 24/7 outfit, by the way. I don't think it should ever end. Okay. All right, Coach Kahn. All right, we'll put the chips in there. You got the chips? All right. All right, so here's who we got here. I think they're in order. Yeah, they're in order, so just grab those right there. All right, first one here should be Joseph Charleston. He was actually our first commit in this class. He's going to be a mid-year. He's from Milton, Georgia, Milton High School, Coach Adam Clack. All right, we'll go ahead and put him up right there. Kath, you got that one? You want to hang Joseph up? Man, what an awesome kid, amazing parents. Same thing with Tyson, just unbelievable family. I cannot wait to welcome them here at Clemson when they get here. Next up, another great young man and a great family from just up the road. This is from Shelby, North Carolina, Crest High School, coached by Coach Nick Edens. This is Landon Zander, safety. Landon Zanders. He and Trevor got the same barber. All right. Next up, really excited about this young man. He's actually from the same high school that Justin Ross is coming from. They just won the state championship. This is a really talented young man, dynamic, can do a lot of things. Wonderful family from Central Phoenix City High School in Alabama there. Plays for Coach Jamie DuBose. This is Ray Thornton. Ray Thornton, safety. Santa, this is going to be a great tree right here. This is going to be awesome. All right, and then from Lawrenceville, Georgia, another dynamic player, great family, excellent size. Is going to be a very versatile guy for Brent and what we can do with our scheme. From Archer High School, Coach Andy Dyer. This is Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips. All right, Coach Kahn, thank you, man. Merry Christmas. All right, next up, we've got Coach Robby Caldwell and his wife, Nora, coming on down the hill, offensive line. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. So there's the chips. I will say this. I want to also, we had our staff party Sunday night, and it was ugly sweater night. And so they won the prize. So Nora shows up, and I don't even know how she got her hair, but her hair was going in every different direction you can think of, like she had stuck her finger in a socket. And she had lights all around her, and it looked like she had just been in an explosion. All right, and then Robby, he had the CUFD, Clemson University Fire Department. He was the fireman that had put her out. So they were awesome. They won the prize. Very, very creative. Definitely one of our most creative wives on the staff here. But Santa has brought us. We only got 2 seniors this year, so it was a year with very, very, very few offers that we put out. Very few. because we only got 2 guys. Next year is a bigger class for us. But we signed 2 that we're really, really excited about. And who knows, maybe there's somebody else down the road. But between now and February, we'll see. But we hit our needs, and we hit them in a big way here. From Pensacola, Florida, Pensacola High School, Coach Mike Mincy. This young man is Hunter Rayburn. He's going to be able to play. He reminds me of a Dalton Freeman, Fauci, a big center, a guy that can play center. He can probably play every position, to be honest with you. But we think he's got a chance to be a really, really special player for us, a great athlete, 3-sport athlete, baseball, basketball, and football, also a mid-year. So he'll be here in a few weeks. So we'll put him up on the board right there. And Miss Nora, you can hang up the ornament. Get him on there. All right, Hunter Rayburn. And then next up, this young man from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Fort Lauderdale High School, Coach Richard Dunbar, a guy that we really, really would have probably committed a while ago. And like I said, we're really, really tight on our numbers at this position this year. But this is a guy that we are so excited everything worked out to be able to sign him. We think he's got a chance to be a really nasty guy inside. Love his physicality, love his versatility, his athleticism. You watch his tape, he's downfield, he's jumping over guys, keeping his feet, changing direction, chasing little guys and covering them up. Anytime you see that with a big 300-pounder, you know you got a pretty good athlete right there, and you got the heart to go with it. So this is Caleb Boating. Caleb Boating. All right, thank you, Coach Caldwell, Miss Nora. Next up, both of our D-line coaches. This is Coach Todd Bates with his wife, Tisa, and Coach Lemansky Hall with Miss Leslie. Come on down. That's got to be a heavy box, Santa. That's got to be a heavy box. Oh, so we got some grown men walking out the door here in January. So got to be a big box. All right, first up here, we've got the chips in the box there. We have signed an incredible group right here. We've got 5 defensive linemen, 3 of which. I believe it's 3. 3 will be in here for midterm. First up, from Williamsport, Maryland, Williamsport High School, coached by Coach Tim Small. This young man is big. He is a big, physical man, all right? This is Juan Johnson, and really excited about him. He'll be a summer enrollee. We'll go ahead and put Taquan up. Really excited about him. Again, you got a lot. We got some grown men walking out the door, and our staff did an amazing job in identifying the guys that we think can help us continue to be dominant in the trenches. And so just really proud of the guys for the efforts put in there. This guy right here, wow, he's an inch shorter than Dexter, but that's what he reminds me of. But maybe a little more athletic. Incredibly athletic, technically very sound, fundamentally very advanced for his age. He will be here in a few weeks. He'll move here January 6th. And this was a huge, huge get for us out of Apopka, Florida. Waukeva High School, Coach Rich Bedison. This is Tyler Davis. Tyler Davis. And again, these families, I just can't wait to bring these families into the fold too, because they're amazing people through and through. And then I don't know that I've signed a Nigerian kid before. But for this year, whatever reason, we got 3 Nigerian young men that are coming to play for us, and it was really cool to have them all here for the official visit together, all different parts of the country. We got one in Detroit, we have one in Missouri, and one in California, and they all, I mean, it was just amazing. And you talk about unbelievable families and young people, just amazing, brilliant young men, and just wonderful, loving families. So excited to welcome these guys. So first one up from Kansas City, Missouri, Park Hill South High School, Coach Mike Sharp. This is Etinosa Rupin. Etinosa Rupin. We call him E.T. So we're just going to call him E.T. But this guy is a jumbo athlete, incredibly athletic. Really excited about E.T. and an opportunity he's going to have. Also will be here in January. And then also coming in January from Lagos, Nigeria, via River Rouge, Michigan, which is very near Toronto. I think he got up there and says, you know what, I want to work my way back south. Same thing. This kid's only played football for a couple of years. And he is amazing talent. Was a basketball player forever. And you talk about a great future. This kid is going to be awesome to watch. Same thing, just incredibly competitive, relentless motor, great size. His name is Rook. That's what he goes by, is Rook. His full name, Rook, is somewhere in the middle of it. So everybody calls him Rook. So his name is Rook Orororo. Orororo. That's how you say it. Orororo. I can't wait. I'm sure our crowd will come up, Rook, kind of like Nuke. I'm sure our crowd will come up with something great for Orororo. So he's an awesome personality, and just an amazing family. He was coached by Corey Parker there at River Rouge High School up there in Michigan. So Rook is also a mid-year. And then also coming in, our last of the D linemen, also a mid-year, will be here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the 5 will be here January the 6th. And hopefully none of us will be here. Hopefully they'll all be having a mid-year watch party all by themselves while we're in California. But really excited about this guy, too. He actually led the state of Georgia in sacks as a junior. Another guy we kind of classify as a jumbo athlete. Could probably play any position along the defensive line. He's got things you just can't coach. I mean, the biggest thing I say about this young man is relentless. I mean, he is relentless, and he's got an amazing heart. He is going to be a blast to see him out there this spring. He's from Winder, Georgia, from Winder Barrow High School, coached by Coach Ed Dudley. This is Logan Cash. Logan Cash. All right. Thank y'all. Thanks for our D-line coaches. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Santa. Okay. Next up, corners. Coach Mike Reed and his beautiful wife, Kim. Come on down. Those guys are usually a little lighter. All right, thank you, Santa. Appreciate that, Coach Reed. Man, Coach Reed has knocked it out of the park. We signed 2 corners, and these 2 guys are special. And I think we signed a couple of special ones last year, and so this is really, I think, a huge need for us. The first one is a mid-year from Norfolk, Virginia, Maury High School, Coach Diary McCain. This is Sheridan Jones. Sheridan Jones. We'll hang him up. All right. So Sheridan, again, what a great talent he is. One of our top guys. We really went after the best of the best, and we got the two that we went after. Did not offer many guys at all. And then this young man, the next one from Decula, Georgia, Archer High School, coached by Coach Andy Dyer. He is easily one of the best overall players in all the country. Will not arrive until the summer, but he's just down the road, so I know he'll be up here a bunch this spring. This is Andrew Booth. Andrew Booth. Good job, good job. And this is always our best dressed couple on the staff. All right, next up, we're going to finally get over to offense. Coach Venables only gives the offense just a few every year. But our tight ends, Coach Danny Pierman and his wife, Christy, come on down. All right, all right. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Santa. All right. Tight end has always been a critical position for us. And I tell you what, the staff and Danny did a great job of identifying about 4 guys across the country that we really thought were elite and that would make us, have the type of group that we have. We got some guys that are getting ready to graduate and move on, and so we needed to really sign a couple of big-time players, and we've done that. We've actually got 2 sets of teammates in this class, and this is one of them from Calhoun, Georgia, Calhoun High School, Coach Hal Lamb. This is tight end Davis Allen. Gonna love this guy. And then from Atlanta, Georgia, Riverdale High School, coached by Coach Rodney Hackney. This young man is 6'6", and I mean he is something else. He is a mid-year as well, so he'll be here in January and have the opportunity to go through spring. But this is Jalen Lay. Jalen Lay. We knocked it out of the park with those 2. I mean, what a great group that is right there. And then special teams, we went down to Tampa, Florida, to IMG Academy, Coach Kevin Wright. But more importantly, this young man's mama is a Clemson graduate, and she's very proud of it. But this is punter, left-footed punter, which I've always wanted to have a left-footed punter, but I've never been able to quite pull it off. They're hard to find. But this is, we think, as good a punter as there is in the country, and he's left-footed. So really excited about Aiden Swanson. Aiden Swanson. Okay. Next up, Santa, I know this one's going to be heavy. All right, we've got our linebackers in this class, Coach Brent Venables and his wife, Julie. Come on down. All right, all right. Good job, Coach. All right, man. Coach V, y'all know he's very detailed and he's very takes a lot of pride with what he does, and in particular, his position group and those guys that play linebacker here. And, man, we've got 4 or 5 linebackers that are leaving this year, that are moving on and graduating and have done an amazing job for us. So this was a class that we really needed to hit on. And Coach V's done an amazing job in identifying these guys and getting the guys that fit all the criteria for the position and the needs and the different traits that you have to have at this position. So first up, I always say once you get one, more will follow. And last year we went to Louisiana and got Travis, and now we go back this year to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to University Lab High School. State champs, University Lab High School. And this young man's coming. I'd be like going to Daniel right here. This young man's coming all the way here. His coach was Coach Chad Mahaffey. This is Brighton Constantine. Been committed a long time. Really excited about him. Another state champ and a player of the year up in Pennsylvania. My first signee from Pennsylvania. I don't think we've signed a player from Pennsylvania since 1995. Brandon Streeter became a Tiger. So hopefully he'll turn out a little bit better than Streeter did. Streeter's done pretty well for himself. From Media PA, Malvern Prep School, Coach Dave Guerrera. This is Keith Mcguire. You got Keith? You already hung him up? From Birmingham, Alabama, you are going to love this guy right here. He reminds me of B.J. Goodson. That's the best way, when I think of him, that's what I think of. And he is a young man that knew what he wanted to do pretty early in the process. He's from Jackson Olin High School. He's coached, ironically, his coach is my former, when I was in high school, my head baseball coach, my basketball coach, and he was our defensive coordinator, Jim Vakakis. His son, Tim Vakakis, is the head coach. So it's amazing how the world comes back around many years down the road. But Levante Bentley, Birmingham, Alabama. I got one word to describe him, and that is thumper. Thumper. And then here's a guy in our camp that I just think has an incredibly bright future. And if you can picture this, if you took Trey Lamar and you took this young man and you stood them side by side and raised their hands up, this young man towers over Trey Lamar. Just to give you a perspective of how long he is. He's raw, but man, he got a chance to be some type of great athlete. But he's from Swansea, South Carolina, Swansea High School, coached by Coach Eric Pack. This is Greg Williams. And then going into Tennessee, another state champ and MVP, unbelievable talent, incredible motor, fast, physical, excellent size. He's from CPA, Christ Presbyterian Academy, coached by Coach Ingle Martin. This is Cain Patterson. Cain Patterson. And of those guys, Keith Mcguire, no, not Keith. Let's see. None of those guys are mid-years, are they? None of them. None of them. None of those guys. Those guys are all coming this summer. So, but you best believe they'll be ready. All right. Next up, running back, Coach Elliott. Coach Elliott. Thank you, Santa. Thank you, Coach E. Let me just say this, too. Coach Venables just stepped off the stage, but I think we're one of only 2 teams in the country that are top 10 in offense and defense. It's really hard to do and be great at both. And Brent, once again, top 10 in just about everything. And then Coach Elliott, and I think Coach Scott's coming up next. These guys that we just scored more points than the history of any team in any season ever at Clemson, including they shattered the 2016. That was the record, and that team was pretty good. That offense was pretty good, but shattered that, and hopefully got 2 games to go. So these guys have done an amazing job with our offense. But we wanted to get us a big back in this class, a guy that had some little more girth to him and a little size, and we've knocked it out of the park. This is a young man that Tony identified early. We're very stingy with our offers around here because when we offer somebody, we want it to mean something. We want to be prepared to take their commitment. And so he's very slow to offer anybody because we don't ever it's not like we're going to go out and sign 4 running backs. All right? And he did a great job bringing ET in last year or the year before. And then this year, Len Jay Dixon, what a talent he is from down there in Butler. I think he led the nation in yards per carry, I think. But this guy here, Ches Malusi from Naples, Florida, I think is really going to be a special player. He's had an amazing career down there at Naples High School, played for Coach Bill Kramer. His dad is from Italy, and just a really neat family to be able to get to know them through this whole recruiting process. Has been committed a long time. Is not going to be a mid-year. Will be here this summer, but we think he's going to be a great player. Ches Malusi. All right, and now we got Coach Jeff Scott, Miss Sarah, and little Savannah coming down. Hey, Savannah. I love it. Good job, Savannah. Good job. Okay. All right. Coach Scott has done another amazing job identifying the guys that fit the culture of that wide receiver room and the expectations of that room. We've kind of covered the map with these guys. So first up, really excited about this young man. We've actually had him in camp since he was probably 8th or 9th grade. What a football player he is. This is a kid from Calhoun, Georgia. He's Davis Allen's teammate. Calhoun High School coach Hal Lamb. Great size, great versatility, really could play any of our 3 positions. Great yards after the catch guy, going to be a special teams guy, just dynamic. And we'll be wearing number 13 when he gets to Clemson. This is Brandon Spector, Calhoun, Georgia. That's a pretty good tree there. All right. And then from Miami, Florida, one of our first commits in this class. And first time I met his family, man, I knew that this was our type of folks here. I mean, amazing family. I think we went to breakfast down there a week or so ago, and there was like 20 of us in this little restaurant. Just a deep, deep family, very close-knit. But Frank is a special talent. I mean, he's 6'5", as fast as anybody we've recruited, unbelievable ball skills, and he has got unbelievable character, excellent student, and again, just fits all the values that we love in our program here. So really excited for Miami, Florida, South Dade High School, Coach Nathaniel Hudson. This is Frank Ladson. Frank Ladson. We've signed 3 receivers. All 3 will be mid-year. So all 3 of these guys will be here in just a few weeks. And then last but not least, and I learned something. This was an amazing trip for me. going to see this kid, but this kid came to see us 3 times. And in fact, I had a buddy of mine. It's not like we just run out into California. We don't cast a big net and just pull it in and say, well, all right, boys, what do we get? Well, we got a carp, we got a bass, we got a catfish. That's not how we recruit. We're very specific in how we recruit and who we recruit. Very, very specific to the criteria, to the fit, to the need, to the potential, all those things. And I had a friend send me a message about this kid in California, and I'm like, man, I ain't going on, I ain't got to go to California to get a wide out. And then we looked at the tape, and Jeff says, I might need to go out there and look at this guy and just see if he's interested. And so Jeff went out, kind of did all the due diligence, and he in fact, he called me from out there, and he said, Coach, this is definitely a guy for us to recruit. And, trust me, he and I are probably more on the same page than any other coach in this whole building, because receivers always been my passion and how I made a living for a long time. So we're both passionate about who comes in here. And so then I got a chance to meet him and his family, and we're just amazing. But he's our 3rd Nigerian kid, and he lives in Folsom, California, which is very interesting because I grew up, I'm 40, I just turned 49. My entire life. All right, so Johnny Cash, if you knew Ervil Sweeney, you were going to listen to some Johnny Cash, okay? So my entire life, I knew about Folsom Prison Blues, my whole life. But I always thought Folsom was in Texas. I don't know why, but I had this in my mind that Folsom Prison was in Texas, just what I had in my mind. And lo and behold, I knew the kid was from Folsom, California, but I had no idea that that's where the Folsom Prison was, and where Johnny Cash did all this thing and all that stuff. So anyway, I think my dad had something to do with that. So we flew out to Folsom, California. It's a really neat town. It's like it literally is like a cowboy town. Like if you took the pavement away, you just like tie your horse on a rail or something. It's an old little cowboy town. It was a gold mining town, kind of settled, and then obviously the prison was there too. But really an unbelievable culture in this community, a great high school, and played for state championship. 2 years in a row, they've won the state championship. But this kid is a special talent. He's a big, strong, kind of thick kid already that can play any position that you want him to play, incredibly bright. He will, I predict, want to be one of the best leaders we've had come through here. Very dynamic and well-equipped to make the transition, and obviously mature and confident to come all the way from California. His brother is a great player for Washington, the college team, Washington. So he's some kind of player and really excited about him. But this is Joseph Ngata. Joseph Ngata. Joseph Ngata. Folsom, California, Folsom High School, coached by Coach Chris Richardson. So I think that's our group right there. So let's have a big hand. Santa Claus, we thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Santa. Just a couple of tidbits about our class. Again, that's 26. It could grow. That's the 2nd biggest class that we've signed since I've been the head coach. 16 mid-years currently, and 9 of those, 9 on offense, 7 mid-years on offense, and then defensively 16 total, 8 mid-years. So really excited about the group that we brought in. It's our 9th consecutive top 15 class, 14 different states. It's the first player that I've signed from California, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Mcguire is our first Pennsylvania player, again, literally since Streeter signed here in '95. Ngata is the first player from California since 1991. And Rook O'Ro is the first player from Michigan to come to Clemson since 1975. So a few tidbits about those guys, and I hope everybody's had some fun. I actually think we're like almost right on time, so that's a miracle in itself. But let me just say thank y'all. I really appreciate your support. And most of all, thank y'all for helping us celebrate these guys. It's a big deal, and it never gets old. We're going to complete this class in February with some, we'll see what happens if we have juniors leave or whatever. If we have any spots, we might finish it up. We definitely got a few preferred walk-ons that will join us and sign up with us in February. And then all these mid-years in February will be here. So when we get together in February, you'll actually get the chance to meet them, and we'll have a Q&A with them and have a big time. So let me just say this to you. Merry Christmas to all of you. Christmas has come early for us. I hope everyone has a great Christmas and special time with your family. For us, it's time to get back to work on the Cotton Bowl. We've got 12 guys that are graduating tomorrow, so I'm going to go over for a luncheon with them to honor them. So 12 guys will graduate. And then let me tell you a little story. See y'all, when I say see y'all in Dallas, I met a lady the other day, and I believe I don't know if Kath's here, Mrs. Evans, I believe is her name. Kath? Is it Miss Evans that lives right up the street? Miss Evans, okay. So Mrs. Evans came to my Santa on the Roof party Saturday night. We have a Santa on the Roof party, and I hadn't met her yet. But Mrs. Evans, and she had sent me a card, but she's 90, and amazing, sharp as a tack, unbelievable. And so she comes over to the house to see Santa, and she just lives right up the street. And I had not had an opportunity to meet her yet, but she was so excited to see me and to tell me about her husband, all right, who's passed. But her husband, in 1939, all right, in a Model T Ford, okay, him and his buddy. And she goes, I just want you to know this was 1939. It's a Model T. Who does this? But her husband in a Model T Ford with his buddy, they set out from Pendleton and drove all the way to the Cotton Bowl. Now, I would assume they didn't have interstates back then, but they drove all the way to the Cotton Bowl to see Clemson play and beat Boston College 6-3. And I just thought about that the other night when she was telling that story. And here we are. We haven't been back since. We're going to go a different route. I know a lot of y'all probably going to go a different route. But can you imagine 1939 year? I mean, I guess they slept in the car. I mean, it's not like they stopped off at the QT and got one of them, chimichangas or whatever they got rolling and a hot dog. I mean, where do you stop? I mean, where do they go? I mean, it's just amazing to me to visualize that. They got no GPSs. They got no cell phones. They got nothing. But this car but you know what they had? They had a love for the Tigers. And that love for the Tigers is still as strong today as it's ever been. So thank y'all so much for being here, loving the Tigers, and we'll see all of you out in Dallas.
All right, so there you go. Coach Sweeney talking and his assistant coaches as they announced the signing class here in 2019 for Clemson football. Now, Coach Sweeney is going to join me here on the desk as well, so we'll get to talk to him a little bit about this signing class. He made that transition that was a good transition right there, my friend. That was strong right there. I mean, that was no hesitation and just after it right away. I must admit, I'm very proud of you that you're still in the same orange jacket that you were announced in back in 2008.
Everybody thinks I've gone out and got a new jacket. This is the original deal. I mean, this is, if I can keep up my exercise and good core work, I can hopefully make it another 10 years or so.
Well, big exciting day for you here at Clemson. And this was, you knew a couple of years ago this was going to be a really large class, and that foundational work actually for this class started several years back.
No doubt, man. This is a really, really, really special group. So I guess it was 2011. We signed I think it was 29 guys. That was my biggest class. That was Sammy Watkins and Stephon Anthony and all that group. So this is the biggest class we've signed since then. If you think back to that group, what transpired, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, when that group as true seniors was 14. Stephon, Grady Jarrett, those guys. But then you had those fifth-year seniors, B.J. Goodson and so forth in that 2015, that first national championship. So, man, they came here in 2011 and left an unbelievable legacy. And we've continued to sign good players, evaluate good players, and then develop those guys when they've been here. So this was a critical class to put together because you think it's the biggest senior class I've had that's leaving here. And obviously the winningest class in ACC history, and with 2 more wins, the winningest class in college football history. Now, wouldn't that be great for these guys to be able to finish that way? So when you got that walking out the door, you better be right on who's coming in the door. And you know, hats off to our staff. I just thought they did an amazing job in just the whole process. So it takes a tremendous amount of teamwork to pull it all together. And right now with 26 guys, we have hit all of our needs and then some. And you know, who knows? Maybe there'll be some more opportunity down the road to add a couple more.
You mentioned in particular, obviously, what you just said about your staff and the support staff that you have here in this building. But to have Dan Radakovich, athletic director, on your side, to have President Clements on your side, who may be the best recruiting president of anybody in the United States.
No doubt about it. If there's a better recruiting president, I want to meet him. And you know, President Clements is just so giving of his time. I mean, it's just amazing how he works, and he's so passionate. You know, it's not something that he has to work at. He's passionate about Clemson and all things Clemson. So you know, it's just when that's your leader of your university, and you can take recruits over to meet with them, and then he can articulate and complement the vision of our program specifically to go along with what he's trying to do for this university. It's a special combination.
The way that this brand has been built too. I'm not going to ask you, did you ever imagine that this brand was going to grow this big? Because I already know what the answer is. You know, we're just scratching the surface of what we're going to be.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
But when you think about the way that the fact that you had to go to 14 states, that you had to go coast to coast and north to south. I mean, it's amazing.
It is. It is. And it's so neat for me. It's like, you know, I met, you know, like, for example, meeting in Ngata. Out there, here's a kid from California, and I'm like, what does he know about Clemson? Well, what I forget, because as we get a little older, you just kind of, you know, 5 years, 10 years is kind of like a blur. But you think an 18-year-old kid who 10 years ago was 8, and the transformation from an 8-year-old to an 18-year-old, that's, I mean, that is the biggest change you have in your life. And his entire, you know, life, basically, when he's being shaped as a football player, an athlete and all that, he's been watching Clemson, and he knows all about our program, and he's telling me stuff. He knows our players, and that was kind of eye-opening to me, like, wow, you know, our brand is that strong that people are paying attention literally all over the country, because, you know, you just kind of little over here in Clemson, and we're just kind of doing our own thing, but and we've always kind of been an inside out, and we still are. But it's kind of neat when you have people calling you that are great people, great students, great players, and they have an interest, and they want to know if you're interested. So we're like, well, let's come see us, and we'll see where we go from there. And that's kind of how it happened. So they came in, and he just loved it. And I think sometimes these kids, they go all over the place, and they know when they know, and that was the case with Joseph and his family. Like I said, his brother, they've already been through it. His brother is a really good player at Washington. So they understood the recruiting process, and he understood very well what he was looking for. And this was the opportunity that he jumped on.
The other thing is, I talked with Coach Venables about this, but the way that you all work camp, you have the 2 high school sessions in camp, and how big both of those sessions are for you to find the next Tigers.
Oh man, it's huge. I mean, you know, we're always, to be honest with you, we're trying to always pump the brakes and slow the process down, but we're always evaluating at an early stage because we want to be right. And you know, for me, I mean, we've never signed a junior college player. You know, we don't go out and sign grad transfers to come in and fill holes. We try to recruit from the high school ranks. And so if that's your philosophy, and then you're committed to graduating them, and you got to be thorough and you got to do a good job. And so our camps are unbelievable opportunities for us. But it's, it's also opportunities for those players, because they get to find out more about what we're about and what the expectations. Because one thing I believe in wholeheartedly is to be completely transparent in the recruiting process. I don't want anybody to come here with any false pretenses. I want everybody to know exactly what they're signing up for, who we are, what's our core values, what the standard is, what the expectations are. And so, camp's a great opportunity for both sides to figure out if we're a good fit for each other. And then there's a lot of these kids. Greg Williams was a guy that we would not have offered had it not been for camp. We just wouldn't. He's a raw kid from down there at Swansea. They hadn't had a great year. Probably not a guy that we go on, but him coming to camp, he earned that scholarship because we were able to evaluate him and what his potential is and get to know him a little bit better. And man, he's one of those. He's an interesting prospect. I'm really, really excited about him. So Grady Jarrett, we wouldn't have signed Grady Jarrett had he not come to camp. We just wouldn't have signed him. So camp is a huge confirmation on guys that we know we already like, but it's also a revelation on guys that were like, maybe we weren't going to go on. We go, whoa, because sometimes you got to put them in a different environment and a different competitive nature to have that true evaluation.
The other thing, and I'm going to turn and look because right behind us, Paul Journey that is sit there. I don't know that people understand the importance of that part of this building for you when it comes to recruiting. The fact that you graduate at the rate that you graduate, and what happens in there, not only getting them to that graduation point, but then also beyond that to make sure, as you like to say, that they are equipped with the tools for life.
Yeah, it's everything in our program, and that's why when we built this building, I wanted Paul Journey to be the front door. It's a living, breathing space, and everything that's going on over there, we were doing over in the West End Zone. It was just in one person's office, Jeff Davis, and now we have a staff, and we have a space, and it's a living, breathing space. It's almost like a curriculum, and for the freshmen, for the sophomores, for the juniors, for the seniors, for the whole team. It's all encompassing, because if you can't just have a vision and state what you want to do and then not walk it out. And so we mean it. We're going to graduate our players. We want them to be equipped with the tools for life that they're going to need. We want them to have a great experience, and we want them to win, and that's the order. But the academic growth, the social development, the spiritual growth opportunities, the life skills, career networking, this is what Paul Journey does every day. And I got a staff of 4 that wakes up every day, and that's all they think about is how they can serve our players. And it's just an amazing job by Jeff Davis. And as being the leader of Paul Journey, I'm just so proud of what he's been able to do. He's been with me for 10 years from day one. And when I hired him, I literally hired him the night I was named interim. He was my neighbor. And I said, man, and I told him what my vision was. And I said, I want to create this thing over here. And I called it a player relations program at the time. And then it grew into Paul Journey. And Jeff's vision and leadership has just been amazing.
All right, can we talk a little bit about what's coming up?
Yeah.
The game here against Notre Dame. You all actually have your final on-campus practice will be today, right? Later on this afternoon.
That's right.
So before you take a little break, and then back here, you gather up on the 23rd and do something, a little walkthrough, and then get on a plane and head out to Dallas. So as you look at Notre Dame, what are some of the things that you kind of jump off the page or jump off the screen about Notre Dame?
Well, they're a complete football team. That's just the bottom line. You look at some teams and you can easily see, man, that's a weakness. But this is a complete team, both sides of the ball. Best defense we've played, best defensive line we've played, really good at corner, very smart at safety. They're hardly ever out of place. That's the thing that jumps out at me. They're top 10 in the country in fewest plays of 20 yards or more. You know, they don't give up a lot of big plays. They're just very disciplined and steady. I mean, you have to out-execute them. They just don't beat themselves. That's a great compliment to them. That's how well coached they are. And then over on the offensive side, the quarterback, everything goes through the quarterback. Kind of like us. There was a change in their season, and they were undefeated when they made the change. And this kid is just taking them to another level. He's an accurate passer. He's got a great command of their passing game. He's a slippery runner. He's a way better runner than you want him to be. He's a nightmare if you don't have rush lane integrity, you know, because he's gonna slip out and he can hurt you. And I think that's what he's done best. He's extended plays for them. He gets the ball out quick, doesn't get sacked a lot, knows exactly where to go with the ball. They complement him with a running game. Listen, they got 3 backs that have really played well for him, but that number 2 is he missed the first 4 games, and so he's rushed for 1,000 yards in 8 games. So you can just do the math on that. He's had quite a year for them, and they want to run the ball. And so that sets up all their RPOs and their screen game and so forth. One of the better offensive lines in the country. Two 6'5", 200, almost 230-pounders at receiver that are big bodies that do a great job with their route running and body control. And the quarterback, a lot of one-play shots and back shoulder balls. But it's all coordinated very well. And same thing, they don't turn the ball over a lot. The quarterback keeps them out of negative plays, and just a really good football team. But, you know, listen, you get to the Final Four, I mean, I don't think you're going to ever turn on the tape and go, oh, they stink. You know, this is an undefeated football team. That's really talented. We're going to play well. And but we're excited about it. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, you know, you don't win games like this if you don't win in the trenches and do the things that give you the opportunity. Take care of the ball, win the field position battle. You know, at least have a draw in special teams. You know, you got to at least have a draw there. And then you have to out-execute them. Just that simple. You got to be able to do what you do better than they do and impose your will on them. If you can do that, you got a chance to win the ball game in these type matchups.
Right. Strikeability certainly has been one of the hallmarks of your Clemson offense this year.
Yep.
You're among the best in the nation in plays over 20 yards. You are like number 1 in the nation, I think, in plays over 40, 50, and
Yep.
60 yards so far this season. But you mentioned it there. Notre Dame defensively, they don't give that
Yep.
up, which to me, and you mentioned about trenches, you've got to have sustained drives against these guys.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, third down is going to be critical. You know, you can't make a living with a bunch of 3 and outs. And we've been the one constant for us all year is our explosiveness. We have been unbelievably explosive. We've scored more points than any team in the history of Clemson. You know, the record was that 2016 bunch. They were pretty good on offense.
Not bad.
And this team's already broken their record with maybe 2 games to play, hopefully. So we've been incredibly balanced, very explosive. But anytime you can run the ball the way we've run the ball, and you got some guys with a pulse outside and a quarterback who can get it to them, you should be explosive. And so because it all comes back to winning in the trenches. And our offensive line has been amazing. We're one of the few. We lead one of the best teams in the country in fewest sacks and fewest sacks, most in explosive plays. You know, one of the top 10 offenses in rushing and passing in the country. So just incredible balance. So it's an interesting matchup because they haven't given up a lot of big plays. And so, you know, obviously something's got to give there. And, you know, I don't think it'll be a 6-3 game like the last time Clemson went to the Cotton Bowl and beat Boston College, but you never know. So I think both defenses are really good, and I think both offenses are really good. So this is third downs. This is red zone opportunities. This is the game within the game, the field position, and then, you know, special teams. That's what this one will come down to.
You know, when you went through the quarterback transition, games 4, 5, and 6 basically is where all that kind of happened. You know, a lot of veteran offensive lines would not have embraced a true freshman quarterback. And to me, I think that has been the biggest key for your football team this year is the way that your veteran offensive line just kind of embraced and enveloped Trevor Lawrence. They loved up on him and they said, listen, we're going to take care of you. You got to take care of us.
Yeah, well, I think when you make unwarranted changes, then you can have some problems. But when you make decisions that are best for the team, you don't have those issues because at the end of the day, the team wants to win. The team wants to win at the highest level, and the team knows, they know reality. So it was a tough decision for sure. It didn't make it easy, but it was definitely what we needed to do at the time. I mean, it was obvious, and everybody embraced it, and we went to work, and these guys have done an amazing job. So, and I'm really proud of Trevor and how he's grown and matured, and he's not a freshman anymore. He's not a complete product yet, but he's a young, polished player that's wise beyond his years, and will be ready for this moment.
The other thing, if I'm you, and this will probably be the final thing, if I'm you, I am so pumped up to see what Christian Wilkins, what Cleveland Furl, what Dexter Lawrence, what Austin Bryant, what that whole group is going to do, because this is what those guys came back for. I mean, this is what those guys came back for, was for this opportunity that they now have facing them.
Yeah, and they didn't come back to end their season on December 29th. They came back to get to the top of the mountain. And but they also have such a great respect for what it takes to get there, and they're going to have to play well. You don't win these games if your best players don't play at a high level. It's just simple as that. If they're not as advertised for 4 quarters in this game, you ain't going to win the game. So our guys understand that, and the best of the best, hey man, they take advantage and seize the moment.
Well, certainly congratulations on this day. It's not over because we got to do it again in February. Don't know how many we're going to sign in February, but we got to do it again in February. And I don't think
the cool thing about it is all of our mid-years will be here, and they get to come down and introduce themselves. So that's always kind of a unique twist to this day. But how about this day? I mean, how about Thad and DJ and Sorrells and all those guys putting this together? And how about Santa showing up, man? I mean, Santa showed up and actually wore team colors and all that. I was really appreciative of that, too. So, fun day. Grinch, good to have Grinch on the team as well.
All right. You know how appreciated you are. So, appreciate everything that you do for Clemson. Go enjoy the holidays if you can. You're going to get a couple of days to enjoy it. So, have fun with the family, and then we'll see you in Dallas.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There you go. Hey, Coach Dabo Sweeney. All right, so that's going to wrap up signing day, early signing day 2019 for us here from the Reeves Football Operations building here. So we're going to take one more look at all the signees that have come in today. All right, we're going to show that here full screen, so you'll get a look at everybody that is signed early on in this period. Do want to remind you that Coach Sweeney's press conference will be coming up. The same way that you're watching this now, you'll be able to watch his press conference. That will happen at 1 o'clock this afternoon, so you'll be able to dial into that and watch that as well. All right, so for Rick Bagby, the entire crew, I am merely, as I like to say, I am merely Pinocchio to all the guys, Geppetto, so appreciate everything that they do. The cameramen, everybody, sound, they make my job extraordinarily easy. But thanks for being with us. Here's signing day from Clemson, South Carolina. And all God's children said, go Tigers.